name's David Adjey. I'm the founder of the Chickery restaurant in Toronto, Canada. Now created a partnership with Dan Rowe and FranSmart. So Dan and I have come down. This is my second time and I believe Dan's third time. In my role as a creative catalyst, sometimes when you're creative, you're not so big on follow through. So this was a big challenge for me when I came the first time. Loaded on my plate was, Dave, we don't have a mission statement. Dave, we don't have a brand culture. Dave, we don't have our key business drivers. Write those. You should be able to get that done in a day. It took a little bit more than a day, probably because I do like to procrastinate a bit. But I really was trying to digest how simple PAL's mission statement was. And the simpler the mission statement, the more work you had to put into it. So I'll send it to you, but I've created my mission statement, created my key business drivers, and created a brand culture. So that was a big piece. And I was kind of thinking, I brought down now two of my managers, sort of the second tier underneath as we now go into a rapid expansion. And I was thinking, well, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to learn? I remember things, so I'm like, I can kind of run through the program, and two things happened. It was really amazing to watch the light bulb go off in Maddie and Mando, my two managers that came down. That was super exciting yesterday. I was kind of looking at Dan going, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And sure enough, it was about 3 PM. They're like, oh, and they just got so excited like I was the last time I was here. And I'm like, perfect. Now it sort of recharged me and got me going. But I also had another one today. Like I thought, okay, I've seen the program. I'm coming down really as an ambassador for my staff. But as I pulled out of it the next layer, it was kind of like peeling the onion and getting to the next layer of the onion. And there's a couple of things I was fighting with. I understood completely the PAL's way, but the PAL's way is not the Chickery way. And I knew that, okay, PAL's way works because it's PAL's. What's the Chickery way and how does it work for us? And what I ended up extracting out of it is to say, it's a hamburger. It's a good hamburger, but it's a hamburger. It's a bun like the other restaurants in this area. Their bun. There's a difference in the spec of how it's handled. The lettuce is flawless. The tomato is always ripe. The onion is cut to perfection. But I didn't see ingredients that were mind-numbingly head and shoulders above everyone else. And I realized that in this matrix that was created, it was like, well, what is the mission statement? I kept going back to PAL's mission statement, and it was just not about satisfying a customer. It was about that loyalty. It was about creating the behavior. How do I create a behavior that keeps people in that restaurant or in that line day in, day out, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week? And it was the speed at which you do it, and it was the cleanliness. It was that cleanliness from inside the store that the customer never sees, but the staff see it. And as when you're in a community or in a store, and you have generations of people coming through these stores and working, there's a little hidden message that's slowly percolating out. Is the people on the inside know what's happening, and that reputation builds and builds and builds. This is not an overnight business. And I got it. I realized that was my connection, that I could separate myself in the better chicken segment by being fast, by being clean, by being efficient, by really going back to my key business drivers. And I was writing down on the back of a cue card and say, well, I wanted the Chickery way. So I'm going to say it to you because you don't know it yet, but we wanted a catchy phrase that was for our internal customers, for our staff. We wanted something that they, when you hear the kids, they talk about like, well, my pals. You heard it in the restaurant. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I've got young staff that are now connecting and owning this restaurant. And as the train goes by, so mine was we wrote the word power. We put it to the power of 3. So power 300. So it's the power 3-100, and that's how we look at our Chickery way. So I love 100. I don't like 110% because there's no such thing as 110%. If you can give me 100% effort, that's the most I can ever get out of you. So I hooked on the triple threes, or the triple 300s, the power 300, and it's something that my staff can gravitate towards, hang on to, and it's just, this is the way we do it. You know, we just look at 100, 100, 100 all the time.